mean, it was really it's really quite a combination because oftentimes it feels like it's not necessarily the case that you can count on both earnings and the vision to be positive. In this case, uh, they both were working in Musk's favor. I think the earnings were much better than expected. I do think that those expectations came down quite a bit over the last year and a half. But they sort of they did exceed expectations by pretty significant measures, and the profit margins in particular are something that everybody keeps a very close eye on. Their automotive profit margins, when you back out the credits that they sell to other automakers for regulatory purposes, those in particular, I feel like are just quarter in and quarter out what everybody looks at. That was a big beat, and then I think Musk was as self-assured as I've ever heard. He's never one lacking in confidence, and for him to throw out 20 to 30% sales increase for next year, I think was very surprising to people after we're 9-10 months into the year, and they've delivered fewer vehicles in 2024 than they did in 2023.
Hey, Craig. So when I'm walking around New York City, every so often, I will see, to my surprise, a cyber truck. What is the latest on that? What did they say in earnings? What can we expect there?
Yeah, they said that it was gross margin positive for the first time in the most recent quarter, and so we're roughly a year into the launch of that vehicle. So I would say that's a little on the early side, just relative to how Tesla has sort of done with new vehicle launches in the past. So that is another positive. I think in terms of volume, it's still quite low relative to the Model Y and the Model 3. That is still where you see the vast majority of Tesla's deliveries. So much so that Tesla has even yet to break out that vehicle in terms of quarterly results. And so I think we have a rough idea of how many they've sold, ironically, based on the recalls that the company has had to do with the vehicle. It's as of the latest recall which was just a few weeks ago, it was around 27,000 units, I believe. So that's pretty small for a company that may sell somewhere in around 1.8 million vehicles this year.
Where is the focus from the company here in terms of it seems like they have a lot of balls in the air. Obviously, the car business itself, robo taxis, artificial intelligence. What do you think they really want you to focus on? What does Elon want investors to focus on, do you think?
I think that's actually really one of the most interesting things here, and I think Liam Denning's column for Bloomberg Opinion this morning, does a great job of laying out this idea that, Musk's emphasis has really been on, don't bother with the here and now, forget the near-term earnings. The sort of big potential for this company has to do with, selling self-driving cars and humanoid robots and things that we've heard Elon talk about time and time again, but not actually deliver. And I think if you're sort of looking at this company sort of glass half full, I'm less concerned than I am today about the here and now of this company and the earnings power of Tesla and its current business, and therefore more encouraged that they have the ability and the time and the financial wherewithal to go out and pursue those big stretch goals that Musk has set for the company, and depending on who you ask, may or may not be able to actually follow through on his various predictions.